Welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Steve Van Meter, your senior minister, and welcome to our Sunday service. We've been expecting you, and we're so glad that you've not disappointed us by finding us here. And our talk title for March is Open to Possibilities. We must remain open to possibilities for new things to come into our lives. And this week's title is Release and Let Go. Wow, interesting timing. So we're going to talk a little bit about this thing that we do in our teaching that's called visioning. And this month, we open to the highest idea of our lives through this practice of visioning. Opening up to the impress of spirit through visioning, which allows us to tap into a realm of all possibilities, much greater than we can even begin to imagine for ourselves. There's a difference between visualization and this process called visioning. Visualization is having something already in mind that you are thinking about and visualizing it. Visioning is having an idea about something, a project, and then opening up to the universe to allowing its impress to give us guidance, to give us ideas. If we use our own capacity, we're limited by our experience and our imagination, which is unlimited, but has a certain limitation because it will only give us what we have already kind of put into it. But when we tap into visioning God's idea of whatever project we're working on or situation, we open up to a realm that is limitless. And you've heard it said that it is not I, but the source within me that does the healing work. Us of our individual selves are just that, individualized receptors of the infinite. It is only when we tap into source energy that something more powerful can come through us. Just like an author taps into that place, or if you've been a project manager or whatever it is, when you can ask the infinite into what you're doing, it's a whole new ballgame. Dr. Michael Beckwith, who's the minister and he gave us this outline for this thing called visioning, says that 100% of spiritual growth is in letting go. When you think about that, you're like, I thought that spiritual growth was about, getting new information, but it's actually in letting go of old information. Releasing and letting go of ideas and beliefs and attachments that no longer serve to create an openness and a spaciousness in our consciousness. It removes obstacles and impediments in the way of living our vision. Releasing and embracing are where our work lies when it comes to manifesting our vision. So our whole life is about letting go, which opens a field of all opportunity where we can dance together. I was putting this together and, I kept wanting to put stuff in about creating something new. And what kept coming up was releasing something old. In our Centers for Spiritual Living global vision, it is written, we envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness whether for errors, injustice, or debts, is the norm. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. So we don't necessarily have to look for it, but it finds us. Spiritual awareness always finds us, doesn't it? You can run, but you cannot hide. So releasing is about making room for a greater good to be expressed or received, for change to take place in our lives, and for healing to occur. You know, it's not always easy to let go. Like I said, most of my material items have scratch marks or claw marks or teeth marks in them because I've held them so close for so long that they've become part of me. But it is within that releasing that a new vista can be created. Releasing is not based on what we choose to release, but on Spirit's highest idea, revealing what must be released. Since the all-knowing Spirit within us always knows what is necessary to release, our job is to just ask Spirit, what needs to be released? And wait for that still small voice to present something to us. Our work is to be still and know, which is the hardest work of all. It's like trying to stop a river flowing. You know, if you were to put in a dam, the river would back up and everything below it would begin to stagnate. And the river itself would stagnate because it's not flowing. We need to be able to take a step back and observe things that come into our life and leave and be okay with it, which is part of the challenge. So our work is to be still and know, and listen to that still small voice within us and follow its guidance. How often have we been presented with guidance and we said, oh no, that can't be what Spirit wants. I'm going to go do this. Or I have a better idea. I'm going to go do that. Only to find that we've been redirected through our trying to control things, and we've been led back to that impulse of Spirit. As Spirit fills our being with the capital T truth, we can relax, we can release and let go of all that is no longer needed. It's been said that the things that you want in your life can't come in because the things that you don't want are taking their place. I release and I let go, just like the words to the song. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, or I let Spirit fill my life with the things that I choose to be, do, and have. Now, we get to choose our own favorite color, our own favorite music, our own favorite fill in the blank. But we don't get to dictate how that comes to us. Actually, the how is none of our business. Our business is just to decide. And, you know, for a long time, I wouldn't decide because I thought that I was going to make a wrong choice. And as my favorite band, Rush, says, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. And Spirit will direct you and wait for you to choose. You know, I think that's the biggest challenge of being, for me, in this human condition, is making a choice. Once I do make a choice and I start going for it, even if it's the wrong one, I will be redirected to what is right. See, you can't make a wrong decision. You can only not make a decision. But sometimes it's best if we do make a decision and then go all in with it. What is Spirit filling your life with? And maybe you want to take a moment and be silent and just ask, Spirit, what is the direction my life is to go next? And just listen. So I've written down 3 different ideas about this. And the first one says, as a matter of law, spiritual growth cannot take place until we are open to learning new ideas by catching Spirit's vision about what we need to let go of. Through visioning for what needs to be released, we can set the stage for receiving greater good into our lives, which includes going beyond our beliefs and attachments and allowing change to take place. You know, we get kind of set, don't we? You know, don't change my schedule. Don't change the time and hour on me. Don't spring me forward. Don't fall me back. Just leave me where I am. You know, I wish that the time would stay the same, but I think it's there to kind of mix things up, kind of shake us up a little bit, you know, and go, this time thing is just an illusion anyway. Well, as we embrace Spirit's highest idea and begin to release untruths, we automatically make room for being lifted out of challenging tendencies, discord, illness, or any situation. You know, I used to think that our stovetop was only so big, and if I put something else on it, you know, the macaroni and cheese would just slide off the back of the stove and be forgotten forever. But it's not about something going away. It's about getting a bigger stove, about getting a bigger plate. So secondly, while it's not easy to release our challenges or give up the things that we resent and regret, we can ask for help and listen to Spirit's highest idea of what needs to be released and forgiven. How interesting is that we hang on to our limitations and we hang on to our challenges. You know, when I was first in this teaching and my practitioner said, you know, you've got a lot of things that you're still hanging on to that are clouding your vision and not allowing you to grow. And she said, you know, there's going to come a time that you become willing to let that stuff go. And until then, you'll kind of stay where you are. And I got kind of mad, like, you know, those are my limitations. You know, don't try to take my limitations from me. They're mine. You know what? I started arguing for my limitations because, you know, those are mine. Those were personal to me. And as I started to begin to learn to let limitations go, it was almost like I was in mourning of those ideas that had blocked my growth because I had worked so hard to put those in place so that I wouldn't have to grow. So things would just stay the same and I stagnated. And we need to look at those places in our lives where we may have become rigid and we may have maybe spoken out of that rigidity and soften ourselves, massage ourselves. We need to walk ourselves through it. With repetition, we'll find that we catch more insights, and this will expand our vision to become a way of life, a new way of life. The idea that there is a spiritual solution to every challenge is demonstrated when we work to manifest our visions in our personal life. That's where our work gets to be done. Now, I know it's like, haven't we done enough spiritual work? Well, we're never done doing spiritual work. My teacher used to say, I'd say, how much forgiveness work do you have to do? And she said, here's how you know if you have forgiveness work to do. Do you have a body? I said, oi, wow. If you have a body, you have forgiveness work to do. And that's so true. I found that, there is always something more to forgive. But I'm getting better at not holding unforgiveness so much, so I don't have as much work to do. But I can still see that there's something to do. And thirdly, of my 3 points, all beginning of spiritual growth, as well as more advanced levels of spiritual growth, are not about getting things. They're about and dependent upon letting go of ideas, letting go of things and ideas that no longer serve us. They're all about letting go of that which no longer serves us and releasing the power within us that has been blocked. I like to call it your spiritual escrow. That if you're holding on to a past challenging situation, it's taking up room in the field of all possibility that doesn't allow you to completely free yourself into a new experience. As we begin to see and describe the new vision of our life and what needs to be released, we'll find that we catch more insights, which will ultimately manifest in our life as the things. But it starts with our ideas. We must be open to changing our consciousness, to looking at some of our shadow sides and embracing it, to know that, you know what? If we wait until we're perfect, until we're this or we're that, we may never get anything done. What I invite you to do is begin wherever you are. Maybe just a little bit of forgiveness. Maybe just letting some people go that have been hogging your conscious real estate, as it were. And not so much that they deserve it. They may not. But don't you deserve your spiritual freedom back? Now, it took me a long time to go through a lot of little crying sessions to release some of the things that I was hanging on to in my life. But as I did, gradually, spiritual healing starts to grow into you, out of you. Something shifts. One day, all of a sudden, the pain that used to wake me up is just a little reminder. It never actually went completely away, but it has a more rosy experience to it. The sting is no longer there. And you're left with the residue of love from even the most challenging of situations, knowing that what this human experience has been challenging, the spiritual realm has meant for advancement. And I know when you're in the midst of it, it does not look or feel that way. But if we can look back at some of our most challenging experiences, I think we can agree that we will find some form of radiance left by that challenging situation that allows us to be more fully present in our awareness in that field of all opportunity right here and right now. And that's what this teaching is all about. let go and let God, let spirit, let source energy, whatever you choose to call it, become you. So in conclusion, the science of mind trinity, summed up in the statement, where your attention goes, energy flows, and manifestation follows, is central to these three stages. 1, putting your conscious attention on asking for Spirit's highest vision for what you choose to be, do, and have in your life, and releasing whatever may be blocking that. Number 2, keeping your attention on this question long enough to receive the visionary insight of Spirit on whatever needs to be released. And thirdly, be willing to manifest the vision by committing to embracing the consciousness that creates and the creative mind stages that have been presented to you through this visioning process. And I'd like to close with one of my favorite serenity prayers from AA that says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so it is. Amen. Well, thank you for being with us this morning, and it's time to go into our healing prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or take a soft focus on something that may take you deeper into the realm of all possibility. So I think we can agree that there is a power. There is a source of energy. This source of energy is who and what each one of us is, individually and collectively. This source that guides the stars, that causes the sun to shine, that rains the rain and is every beam of sunlight. It's beating our heart right now. It's breathing our body right now. And as we say a prayer of release today, letting go of that which has transpired, it has come, it has happened, and it has brought exactly what has been needed in every situation for our ultimate and highest best. And as we bless it, whatever it is, and let it go, it goes out into the consciousness and is returned fully orbed as a new idea, as a new connection, as a new love within ourselves, as a new direction is given to us, as a new idea is formed through this visioning process. As we lay our consciousness open and say, divine infinite wisdom, guide me, direct me. I am here and open, and I'm listening. Being receptive to what comes through this spiritual wisdom, not to fear it, but to be it and become it and live it. Something wonderful is happening by means of each one of us right here and right now. There are truckloads, countless energies on their way to each one of us right here and right now. No matter where you are, who you are, what you are, or what's going on. I affirm the goodness of the infinite spirit of all well-being in every situation. I may not know what you're walking through right now, but I know God does. I know source energy has put us all in the perfect place at the perfect time, right here and right now. And a miracle is happening for each one of us. So we give great thanks for this miraculous energy, this transformation that we are all walking through right here and right now. We are so blessed to have this time together, to remember who we are and to look for answers. As we open ourselves to all possibility, the infinite sends us messages, ideas, and love. So we give great thanks for this time, this space, and this place, releasing this directly into that living, loving law in gratitude, in peace, and in harmony. We let go, we let God, and we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Well, it's time for our offertory now. So I want to start by saying thank you to everybody who continues to sustain this teaching, to sustain this Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living, and let us show up in your life every Sunday and soon together again. We're so looking forward to that. As we begin to see on the news, everyone coming back together and grandparents hugging their children and grandchildren, we are moved to tears. And let this be such a beautiful time of coming back together. So we just bless this time together, knowing it is so. And let us read our offertory idea that says, the more I let go, the more good I receive to share with love. Once again, the more I let go, the more good I receive to share with love. And so it is. Amen. And just saying a prayer for that offering. Thank you, divine, unlimited source of all good, for providing for this center and for each person who sustains us in a beautiful, miraculous way. We accept these tithes and these gifts and return them back into this community in a way that makes sense, that allows this Grants Pass Center to be available and working and a beautiful place to remember who we are, as we affirm this together by saying, and so it is. Amen.